And I just figured out why black folks is in poverty, man. And it be the older black folks too, man, that we look at like feel sorry for them, like why they living like they living, like in these regular houses, and they look like they so poor. Man, that's because they want to be, And I just figured it out. They spend all their money on scratch-offs, playing the lottery. The South Carolina Educational Lottery is 80% of the reason why a lot of those folks like that, because they sitting around hoping on a dream. And that lottery and them scratch-offs ain't nothing but a scam. Ain't nothing but a scam. You might have six $10 hits on a book, maybe $100 hit. It's not gonna happen. And they playing this lottery, spending $60, $70, $80, $100 at a time. $20, $30 a day. Every dollar they get, they going to buy Bill cigarettes and scratch-offs and playing that lottery. It ain't gonna hit. It don't never hit.
What he's saying is correct. I'm not going to say that's why black people are in poverty. There are many other reasons that black people are in poverty that doesn't have anything to do with the lottery. But, I get his point. I really get his point, but look, the world I came up in, everybody played the lottery, right? That was people's way to one day get rich. But I've never seen nobody get close to getting rich from playing the lottery. So I get where he's coming from, but I say, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I think that it is something that hurts individuals. I seen people who spend $200 out of their $500 check to play the lottery, and they get 200. Back in the days, the tickets were $1, so they would get 200 tickets, right? And it really make no sense to me. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that's why black people are in poverty. That's not the main reason. There's a lot of other reasons that put people in poverty, but it do affect people in a very negative way. So I get where the brother's coming from, but I think he's just a little emotional right now. But let's listen to more of what he had to say.
In these stores, and these Indian guys, they put their stores right in the ghetto, right in poverty, because they know and got to figure out, just like I just figure out, what we gonna do with our money. They know what we gonna do. We're gonna buy Bill cigarettes and scratch-offs and play that bullshit ass lottery that we ain't gonna hit. I stopped by the store a few minutes ago, man. I was gonna buy me some gas. I didn't even want none now. You know why? Because I seen black folks lined up, man. People that you could tell they on disability or Social Security, and they got mental issues or some type of drug issue. And they in there playing their money, man. They hard-earned money. They see you holler about. When they see you, give me $5, give me $20, or,
Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video. I'm on a mission to lead others to Christ. And if you believe in that movement, I would appreciate it, if you join this journey with me, But just to be honest, look, I don't think that it has, people are just going out there to buy. I don't think that it have anything to do with people who are just on drugs when it come down to people who buy lottery tickets and everything like that. There are all type of people who buy lottery tickets. In fact, most of the people who buy lottery tickets are people who go and work a 9 to 5. People who go out there and work every day, who work hard. Now I get it, where he's at, he see people who are on drugs and going in there to buy liquor all the time, spending their money on lottery tickets. Well, I prefer you to go and spend your money on a lottery ticket than on some liquor or drugs, But most of the people who buy lottery tickets are people who work everyday 9 to 5 jobs. The brother right here, you don't spend your money on lottery tickets, but I'm pretty sure people who work with you right next to you are leaving their work to go and buy lottery tickets. You get what I'm saying? The crazy thing to me is that lottery tickets are now almost $5 one ticket. That don't make no sense. See, me, I don't like to lose money. I don't like to just give people, money that I'm not gonna get back. But if I know people are in need, I don't mind giving. But when it come down to just giving somebody your money just to have, like giving the government and giving these people your money, when it come down to buying lottery tickets or whatever, I'm not big on that. Now, I would back in the days go and do sports betting. I would do stuff like that, because I'm really into sports. So I'll go put some money down on the Lakers if I feel like they're going to get that game, or go do a 3 or 4 way parlay. I would do things like that back in the day, right? I don't do it anymore, since I turned my life over to Christ. I don't, just bet on things like that. You get what I'm saying? But I don't see anything wrong with that if it's something that you're enjoying. But just giving your money away when it come down to going and buying lottery tickets and things like that, I don't do that. But I come from a world where a lot of people did. That's why I understand where the brother's coming from. There's a lot of people in our community who go and spend their money on these lottery tickets. I just don't agree with the part where he say this is why most people in the black community are in poverty. Let me say this because I think there's a bigger lesson in this conversation than just whether black people are playing the lottery too much or not. I'm not going to sit here and say the lottery is the reason black people are in poverty. It's not, not the only reason, because that would be ridiculous. There are many reasons people struggle financially, man. And poverty is a much bigger issue than buying a lottery ticket. It ain't the best thing to put your money in, but it's not, but I do understand the point he is making right here, because when you start looking for your breakthrough in luck instead of preparation, you could spend your whole life wanting for something that may never come, like playing the lottery. And I know because, like I said, I used to play sport bet myself. I did in the past, but when I turned my life over to Christ, I stopped doing all of that, right? And it didn't do anything for me when I was doing it. And for me, that wasn't about money. It was about changing what I was putting my faith in. I didn't want to sit around hoping something would happen, for me because of that. I wanted to work towards something, and there is a biblical principle behind that. Proverbs 13:11 says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it, right? Little by little. That means discipline. That means patience. That means making better decisions over time. And in James 2:17 tell us that faith by itself, if it doesn't have works, is dead. So yes, pray. Absolutely pray. Ask God to bless your finances, your business, your career and your family. But after you say amen, you better get up and go do something with your life. You can't keep buying lottery tickets asking God bless me when it comes to this ticket. I'm trying to get this, Nah, man, you got to learn how to manage your money, And that's the part I really want people to understand. Your financial breakthrough may not come from winning something. You get what I'm saying? It may come from learning something, going out there and putting in work. It may come from starting, a business. That's what I did. It may come from learning a skill, getting a certificate, finding mentors to help you, saving the money you got, investing wisely, or simply stopping the habits that keep draining your bank account. The Bible also warns us about loving money, and chasing after it the wrong way. 1 Timothy 6:9-10 talk about people who desire to be rich, falling into temptations and harmful desires. Because the love of money can lead people away from what really matters in life. So I don't want anybody watching this to think I'm saying being poor means you don't have faith. Nah, I'm not saying that, because that's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that we have to take responsibility for the decisions we make with what God has already placed in our hands. If you have $20, don't spend the whole $20 trying to turn it into $2,000 by playing the lottery. Sometimes the blessing is learning how to keep that $20 and eventually turn it into something more, turn it into something bigger through wisdom and discipline. You get what I'm saying? And that's the lesson I want everybody to take from this video right here. Don't put your hope into the lottery. I get what the brother was saying in regards to that. Don't put your hope into a government check. Don't put your hope into somebody coming to rescue you. Put your faith in God, but also put your hands to work. You get what I'm saying? Because faith doesn't mean sitting on the couch waiting for a miracle. Faith means trusting God enough to move when he gives you the opportunity to move. So whatever your financial situation is right now, don't be ashamed of where you are at, but don't become comfortable staying there, either, learn, work, put in work, save, build, pray, and let God guide the process, Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I'm on a mission to lead others to Christ. And if you believe in that movement, I would appreciate you joining me on this journey. And I'm going to leave it there, man. It's your boy, Paul P. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Doses.